Contradictions in the accounts of the Last Supper. When comparing the accounts of the three Gospels, Matthew chapter 26 verses 17 to 20, Mark chapter 14 verses 12 to 17, and Luke chapter 22 verses 7 to 14, regarding the preparation for the Passover meal, noticeable differences and variations in detail emerge, particularly concerning who took the initiative to arrange the meal. When the Gospel of John is added to the comparison, the gap widens to include the timing of the event itself. Mark records that Jesus sent two of his disciples to prepare the Passover, and Luke agrees with this, specifying that the two sent were Peter and John. Both Mark and Luke also expand on the sign Jesus gave them. They were to meet a man carrying a jar of water, follow him to a house, and then address the owner with a specific message, conveyed in closely similar wording. By contrast, Matthew does not mention how many disciples Jesus sent, nor does he include the sign of the man carrying the jar. Instead, he gives a more general instruction to go to a certain man in the city, with a shorter form of Jesus' message. In the Gospel of John chapter 13 verses 1 to 19, however, it is stated that before the Passover feast, Jesus, during supper with his disciples, got up and washed their feet, explaining that what he had done was an example of humility and service, emphasizing that a servant is not greater than his master. The difference between John and the Synoptic Gospels is evident. He does not recount the preparation of the meal or the sending of two disciples to find the place, as the Synoptics do. Instead, he uniquely presents the washing of the disciples' feet as the central scene that reveals the meaning of the meal and its spiritual significance. Who initiated the preparation for the Passover? In Matthew chapter 26 verse 17 and Mark chapter 14 verse 12, it is reported that on the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to make preparations for you to eat the Passover?" This indicates that the disciples took the initiative by asking and proposing the preparation. In contrast, Luke chapter 22 verses 7 to 9 states that Jesus took the initiative. He sent Peter and John, saying, "Go and make preparations for us to eat the Passover." They then asked, "Where do you want us to prepare for it?" This suggests that the initiative came from Jesus, without any prior request mentioned. Was the Last Supper the Passover meal? The three Synoptic Gospels agree that the Last Supper was a Passover meal, as seen in Matthew chapter 26 verse 17, Mark chapter 14 verse 12, and Luke chapter 22 verse 7. However, the Gospel of John presents a different picture, indicating that the meal took place before the Passover. In John chapter 13 verses 1 and 2, it is stated that the supper occurred before the Passover feast. Furthermore, Jesus' statement to Judas in verse 27, "What you are about to do quickly," led some of the disciples to think that he was telling him to buy what was needed for the festival, implying that the feast had not yet begun. This understanding is reinforced in John chapter 18 verse 28, where it is noted that the Jewish leaders did not enter Pilate's palace to avoid ceremonial uncleanness, so that they could still eat the Passover, and in John chapter 19 verse 14, which states that Jesus' trial took place on the day of preparation of the Passover. Accordingly, the question remains, was the Last Supper a Passover meal, or did it take place before it?